This tutorial aims to give you a few tips on working with your data in CRM. The goal is to make it easier to view your information and for you to get more out of the information and make it more usable. When you do a search in CRM or navigate to a list page, or if you're working inside an agreement or your opportunities, your information is going to be presented to you in a column and row format, similar to a spreadsheet. You might find the order of the columns isn't really what you want. Maybe the data isn't sorted the way you'd like it to be sorted, or some of the information isn't viewable or isn't easily viewable to you. CRM allows us to manipulate this information so that it's easier to view and work with. What I have here is a listing of all agreements in CRM. So it's going to be a very long list. You'll notice though that I'm really only seeing the first 10 results from that search that I did, and you know there's more. So one thing I can do to make it easier to view the data would be to go to the upper right hand corner of this screen, and where it says 1 through 10 of 10 plus, if I mouse over this icon, it'll say show more. If I click it, it'll display an additional 10 lines. There we go. So now I'm viewing 20. In many cases, if you're working with your own information rather than the entire organization's information, 20 lines or less may be enough to see everything that you're interested in based on that search or whatever you happen to be doing. But in a case like this, it's made it a little easier. And now what I want to do is I want to navigate within those results. So let me zoom in to make this a little easier for you to see. Okay, at the top of my search results and at the bottom, let me scroll down, you'll see I have these arrows here. Now what these arrows do, they allow me to navigate both within my current set of results and to move back and forth. So I'm going to back this out just a little bit. Hopefully that'll be easy to see on a video. And my first one I want to look at is the far one on the right. It's a right pointing arrow with a vertical line next to it. What that does is that moves me to the next set of results. So currently I'm at 1 through 20. If I click on this, then moves me to the next set of 20 results. So you can see I'm now at 21 to 40. Now the other two arrows here, this one is a double arrow pointing to the right, this one points to the left. I'm currently highlighted on the first item. If I go here to the right and click it, that just moves me down one every time I click. And if I go left, then it'll move me back or up one line item. If I want to return to my previous set of results, then I use this left arrow. And I'm back to where I started. Now in viewing my results here, let's say I'm looking at these columns and it's like they're not in the order that I want to see them in, that it would be easier for me if I could restructure the order of the columns based on what I'm trying to do. Now this looks okay, the agreement number and revision number, those two being side by side, that makes sense. But let's say though that what I wanted to do is I've got my agreement number, the revision, the name of the account, the sys. I want to go ahead and drag in, say, the subscription year over here. So I just simply grab this, put my mouse on it, drag it left or right to wherever I want it, and then when I get it into the position where I want it, I just let go and it has simply moved that column for me. And you can do that with any of these. Again, you know, what you want to do and where you want these columns to be is entirely up to you and really whatever task you're trying to perform. Now I have another way that I can reorder columns. It's a little bit more maybe robust. So let me show you how to do that. I go up to my blue menu wheel, which I just call it the blue cog. Click on it, scroll down to where I come to columns displayed. And you'll also notice that I've got a keyboard shortcut here, Control plus Shift plus K. If you reorder your columns a lot like I do, that's a really good shortcut to have memorized. It saves you a couple of clicks. So let me just go ahead and click on it here. And when I click on it, I get a pop-up window called Columns Displayed. And what this shows me is on the left side it says available columns. That is, those are additional columns that aren't currently being displayed for me in CRM. There's quite a few to choose from. On the right it says selected columns. Those are the ones that are currently being displayed on the page. So for now, let's say I just want to move these around a little bit. What I want to do is I want to see my agreement number at the top. So what I'll do is I'll go to this arrow, this up arrow here, the one at the top. When I push it there, you'll see that'll move it all the way to the left in my display. Then I click Save. Siebel refreshes, and now my agreements numbers are all the way to the left. But I want to do some more work. So Control Shift K on the keyboard. There's my menu again. So I want to put my revision up there, and I'm going to move it all the way to the top, and then go to this down arrow and just move it down one. So I've got agreement number, revision, active, the status, the name of the customer, the SysID, and the subscription year. Maybe one last thing I want to do is I want to see what the main product is. So I'm just going to move this up, and again, up is to the left, down is to the right, and let's put it after subscription year, and I can click Save. Now let's say I'm moving around here and I kind of like, well, I don't even know if I want to change anything. I can click Cancel. If I do make some changes and I don't like what I've done, I can always redo it, or I could come back in and click on Reset Defaults. That just returns it to what the system uses. But I think I'm pretty happy with what I've got here, so let's just click on Save. And it takes a couple of moments. And say for this activity, whatever I'm trying to do, this order works best for me. And then there's going to be a lot of information to the right side and then off of the screen that I really am not interested in right now. Now, one thing I can do, again, I can access that columns displayed window, and I'll do it with my keyboard shortcut, Control Shift K. And say I want to remove or add some of these columns. That's easy to do too. Let's see, sales division, business division, processing type. I'm not interested in processing type. So I highlight it and I click this single left arrow. It's moved it over to the available columns. It isn't gone, it hasn't disappeared. I can always re-add it, but it's going to be out of my way for now. If I wanted to, I could click this double left arrow and it would move everything that's displayed currently over to the available columns, and then I could start re-adding, say, one at a time if I wanted. Or if I decided, hey, I wanted to see everything, I could just click on this double right arrow and it would add everything that's available to the display. Again, you can change this anytime you want. You can reorder things, so you really can't do any harm by doing this. But you might find that from time to time you want to reorder your columns just to make whatever task you're trying to do a little easier to do. One handy thing that we have available to us is the ability to change the width of the columns. So let me zoom in here to show you what I'm doing. When I come to the column headers, these are all individual columns, as I mouse across there, you'll notice that the mouse changes to like double parallel vertical lines. What that tells me is that I've reached the boundary to one of my columns. What I can do is just click my mouse and then drag that to wherever I think it needs to be, so I can more easily see the data in there. I think this is especially handy for, like, say, agreement names. So let me move this over. And I might even need to go a little further because some of them are quite lengthy. But you get the idea. The last thing I want to show you is I can sort my rows so that, say, oh, here's one I'm interested in, the main product. I want to sort all of these agreements by the main product. Now, when I mouse over there, over the header where it says main product, it says sortable. When I click it, it then gives me the option to sort. So I'm just going to click it and let CRM run here a moment. And now it's sorted my products alphabetically. A to Z, I can reverse that if I want, simply by clicking again. Give it a moment, and there's my next sort. I think almost every column within CRM is sortable. If it's not, you'll simply not be able to do it, so that's how to be readily identifiable that it isn't sortable. So those are just a few hints or tips on how you can move the data around in CRM to see it easier, reorder it so that maybe it's easier to work with, and hopefully to just make working in CRM just a little bit easier for you.